Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world. Coming up, the woman who could have been America's first female president finally speaks out. Hillary Clinton blaming misogyny, Russian interference and questionable decisions by the FBI in preventing her from beating Donald Trump. Also, the Indian police charged with ending sexual harassment on the streets now find themselves the target of criticism for being overzealous on the job. And with the Cannes Film Festival just around the corner, we meet Solene Edouard, a talent agent working hard to ensure we see more women and therefore more women's stories on screen. But we begin in the States, where Hillary Clinton has blamed her defeat in last year's presidential election on misogyny, FBI Director James Comey and Russia, saying their interference had particularly scared off voters. The Democrat said she took absolute personal responsibility for a series of campaign blunders that contributed to a loss against Donald Trump. However, she also declared she would have won without these factors.
Stepping onto the stage to rapturous applause, as she did so often during the presidential campaign. 6 months after her shock defeat, Hillary Clinton says misogyny, entrenched in the political, social and economic landscape, contributed to her failed bid. But that's not all that stood between Clinton and the presidency.
It wasn't a perfect campaign. There is no such thing. But I was on the way to winning until the combination of Jim Comey's letter on October 28th and Russian WikiLeaks raised doubts in the minds of people who were inclined to vote for me but got scared off.
With less than 2 weeks to go until the presidential vote, James Comey announced the FBI had launched an investigation into Clinton's emails to see if she had been careless with classified information. The letter backed up Trump's frequent claims that Clinton could not be trusted, enabling him to cut into her significant poll lead. At the same time, WikiLeaks released thousands of hacked emails from the account of Hillary Clinton's campaign boss. They shone an unflattering light on how the Clintons' consulting firm was funded, revealed her team's criticism of her, among other things. The former Secretary of State has long blamed Russia for the email hack, suggesting President Putin had made it a personal mission to keep her out of the White House.
He certainly interfered in our election. And it was clear he interfered to hurt me and to help my opponent.
Since losing the presidential race, Clinton says she's now gone back to being an activist citizen and part of the resistance.
Now, India has captured global attention as its women confront rampant sexism and harassment in public spaces. So much so that Uttar Pradesh, its largest state, has created a new police unit who target those men who harass women. But they themselves are being accused of using questionable methods, with many criticising them for now policing morality in general. Our France 24 team on the ground sent us this report.
This police squad is on a special mission. The woman dressed in yellow is an undercover officer. Her job is to walk up and down the streets in a bid to trap men who harass women.
What happened? How was it?
The men in the cars were staring at me, but not the ones at the bus stop. Maybe they suspected that I am with the police force.
Since March, anti-Romeo squads, such as this one, have caused terror and fear amongst Indian men. In the North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, police officers have a wide mandate to target men who stalk women in the streets, pass lewd comments or stare at them. In a state with the highest number of crimes against women, moral policing of this kind has found support with the general population. In fact, when the Hindu nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party took over the state government in March, one of their first acts was to set up anti-Romeo squads.
Before, when we walked down the streets, the boys made vulgar comments all the time. When we went to the markets or anywhere, we were afraid of their stares. Now that it's over, we feel safe.
But ever since they were first set up, these squads have been accused of using violent methods to target innocent people.
You think we're weak?
Among their victims are unmarried couples caught off guard by the police in the streets or in the parks.
Come on, we'll take them to the police station. They'll get married there.
Madame, please let me go.
Why? Don't you want to marry him?
Under the pretext of protecting women, anti-Romeo squads have been accused of taking the law into their own hands.
Do 100 sit-ups like that.
They have become guardians of a stifling social order by imposing moral policing in an already conservative state.
My many friends were taken by the police. They are sitting in park and talking to their girlfriend. They are both have mutual understanding to love, but police thinking other thing. They're telling you are exploiting your tradition, your custom.
Faced with rising criticism, the state government has directed the police to stop abusing their power. But squads along similar lines are being planned in other BJP-ruled states, such as Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. The Nationalist Party is keen to be seen as restoring order in a traditional society.
Now, here in France, post-election, all eyes will be turning to the Cannes Film Festival, which begins later this month. The lineup having already been announced, unveiling a slight rise in female directors making the list. In the meantime, a total of 12 women will have their films screened at the prestigious festival. That's up from 9 in 2016 and a significant change from 2012, where no films by female directors were shown. Solene Edouard is a talent agent who's based here in Paris, who's committed to boosting female representation in film. Solene, thanks for coming in. Now, this year, the Cannes Film Festival organisers are very much patting themselves on the back for having so many more women having their films screened at the festival. But when you look at the number of women in terms of the total population, I mean, we make up, 51%. It's still a really low figure.
Yes, we were all looking forward to seeing the selection made by Pedro Almodovar and all his team. And it was a big surprise to see only 3 women directed film in the official selection, because this is what we will all be looking at. And yes, it's an improvement, as you said, but this is still very low.
Now, the festival itself has faced embarrassment in 2015 after several women were turned away for, goodness me, the audacity of wearing low heels or flat heels as opposed to stilettos. And then the poster for this year's festival has also been criticised for sort of heavily photoshopping the image of Italian actress Claudia Cardinale. This seems to be an event not that well known for promoting equality.
No, definitely. And this is also why it's very interesting to look at how you can increase the number of film made by women in the Cannes Film Festival, because women don't make the same movies as men do. So it seems that, yes, if you have films that are made by men, you continue to carry some stereotypes about women being sexy, wearing high heels, and not necessarily being the one directing action movies.
We've spoken in the past on the show about the appalling lack of representation when it comes to women on the screen. What impact does that have on us as a society?
Yeah, definitely. I think the impact is the more you see on the screen women that are portrayed in the stereotypes, the young and sexy women, and then the mother, and then necessarily the grandmother. The young girls who are watching this show, or the women who are watching this show, are just seeing one type of women. We're not seeing all the other women who make different thing every day, like making movies, action movies, or flying planes, or etc. So the problem is that the more you have men making movies, you continue the stereotype and the gender stereotypes. The woman stays at home, takes care of the children, and try to find a man that she can marry.
And the other element of all this is the presence, or rather the lack of, in terms of presence, of older women.
Definitely. The older women, women of color, lesbian, and other kind of women who are not necessarily in the stereotype that men will think about.
So what do we need to do to change this? Because there seems to be a disconnect, whereas in society you've got more women than ever in the workforce, more women than ever in positions of authority, but that is not being reflected in films.
No, definitely. I think it's important to realize that we have a problem. And this is the kind of thing that we have been thinking about, is both in France, but also in Hollywood. And I think it's definitely the same fight from here and there. It's at two levels. The problem with the women representation is that it's very hard to make it in the movie industry. It's very hard. It's hard for everyone, men and women. Every single day you have to get out and sell yourself. It's very complicated, and women are not necessarily very good at doing this. So we need to help women, and we need to help them better sell themselves. So that's at the micro level.
How do you do that?
Well, really telling them that, yes, they have a right to be here. They have a right to go see a producer and say, yes, I have a great movie, is building the confidence of women. And I think this is our role as talent agent to be doing this.
And you represent actors, directors, producers, and you've spoken in the past about the problems you've had with your women clients in getting them to sell themselves.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Usually they only want to go see production companies when their project is perfect, 100% perfect. And it can take years and years. And these are the years you're not going to be out there and telling people that you want to be directing movies. So I think this is really hard in telling them, okay, you know, this is good enough. This is good enough to go see. You have the right to go see a production company with a movie that's not 100% written, and maybe the end needs some work, and that's okay. Because you know what? This is what men do.
Solene Edouard, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And that's it for now. And if you'd like to comment on what you've just seen, you can head to our Facebook page. That's France24.51%. Or do send us a tweet at _51%. Thanks for your feedback so far. And please do keep those comments coming in. So until our next show, bye for now.